There is a little tool that political parties and candidates and activist groups use to try to make it seem like they are inevitable. Now, as you know, there's polling that's real, that's independent polling. It's the stuff that last week was telling us Labor's headed for an 80-seat majority this week and tonight, that it could well be Labor minority or even a coalition minority at this stage as the undecided start falling the government's way. But there is a whole collection of polling that I've got to say is just fake news, because the headlines are built to make it seem like it's falling the way of this person or that person, but the polls are paid for by the candidates themselves trying to get a result, or activist groups. It's not news. It shouldn't run as news. Perfect example today. This poll was paid for by the Spender campaign. This poll was paid for by Get Up. This poll was paid for by the ALP. This poll was paid for by Climate 200. This poll was paid for by Get Up. And even then, people try to turn around and say, well, maybe it's not about polls anymore. Maybe it's about the bookies. Well, they got it wrong last time. Maybe it's about Google searches and how many people are looking for certain candidates. Well, Google have said that they're doing everything they can to make sure that nobody's fiddling with their system. Only problem is Labor are fiddling with their system. News story today that Labor is trying to buy their way to the top of Google searches and getting supporters to punch in as much as possible the Labor Party, the Labor Party, the Labor Party, to make it look like they are more popular on the internet. It is fake news. James Morrow doesn't do any of that. Instead, he's got hardcore reporting, including some very good intel about what might be about to happen in the seat of Fowler, the Daily Telegraph's national political editor, and, of course, Outsiders host, Bridget McKenzie, Federal Government Minister, National Senator in Victoria. So let's talk about KK and whether KK is in trouble here. Dai Lee's going to be in that very seat in about 10 minutes.
Well, that's excellent to hear, because she has got now, I think, a real chance of winning that seat of Fowler out there, where Kristina Keneally was parachuted in, a real captain's call parachute pick here, but her parachute is now snagged. The polling says that KK is still ahead only just, but that polling concluded a couple of weeks ago. The ground game that Dai Lee is running is very, very strong. I am told by Labor sources out there that they are increasingly concerned that they are going to hit the wall on this seat. So that's one they're not going to pick up, that they're not going to keep. If that happens, it's also going to be a huge repudiation of this strategy, and it'll be really interesting to see what happens next door in Parramatta with Andrew Charlton, another parachute pick, who I can reveal in tomorrow's Daily Telegraph was today out handing out money for an aged care facility that just happened to be at half an hour up the road from the electorate and not even in the one that he's trying to win. So, you explain to me the retail politics of how that works. Maybe Bridget can explain to me how that's good politics.
Yeah, well, you don't live in the electorate, you won't vote in the electorate, and you're promising things that are not in the electorate either.
Bingo.
Genius.
Genius.
What a surprise. Sometimes things are exactly as they seem.